Wow, why are you gonna leave?
I don't think you guys figure out. Three good things. Three good things. That's a holiday. Three good things. Five good things. Three good things.
The rest, are you checking the notes today?
Now we're gonna go
Oh, both tomorrow. You notes tomorrow?
Yeah, 12.
Oh, Lord.
So it has to be those down there. Right?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but like your option.
We're not done.
I know, I'm giving you.
What's up? It has to be notes. I'm confused.
If you're 85 or under, it has to be notes. If you're above 85, the notes are optional.
Or can you show me the problems?
Come on. Chapter 12, and I'll check 11 tomorrow. Yes, sir.
We're 11. Are you doing chapter problems or just?
Yeah. Did you do it already that way?
Yeah.
Okay. Chapter problems. I'll take chapter problems for 11 because some people did them and I don't want to start anything you read. Maybe another class.
And even plus, and even cents.
What?
You can do what? 2 classes.
Huh? The grill too is the grill here?
He was, I don't know.
Hey, we just not know the class.
Will was, our check, Will was at there for like volunteering.
All right.
The SNHS.
Rick, how do you feel about this?
I feel like I got an answer.
Everything?
Huh?
You feel like you got an answer to everything?
Yeah.
I know.
Okay, and to the answer. It's about 6. Do you feel you got 4 out of the 6 right?
I would imagine.
All right. This is. All right, Greece, I'll let you start off with the easy one, A.
I said this was a positive externality.
Okay,
Why?
how would you explain?
I don't really know how to explain it, but I recognize because of the graph, and it's a demand shift to the right, which would probably mean that they granted a subsidy.
Okay, so you could be an externality before the subsidy. Everything you said is right, but I think you'd have to tighten up the answer to get the explanation.
Say marginal social benefit is greater than marginal private benefit.
And that's it. And you really, once they give you the graph, you don't need, like, you can just copy, but you know, you can just say, And then, of course, it'd be reversed for a negative externality. We'd be shifting supply, and marginal social cost would be greater than marginal price. Using the numbers on the graph, identify that.
Q equals 16 and P equals 6.
All right, so you took where marginal price of cost and marginal price of benefits intersect. That is the equilibrium. We got 6 and 16. That is the market equilibrium right there. Okay, good job. Number 3, using the label on the graph, identify the area representing the debt weight. What? Yes. Yes. You take the market line straight up to the second demand curve and you have DEF. Okay? That's 3 for 3. Mr. Brown? You do whatever you want. You're in charge, buddy.
$4.
All right. So again, if I take the line from E to T, that would be my external benefit. On Walt, my 10 minus 6, because that's what that line is, and he gets $4. Okay. Any questions on any of the 4 so far? Karika, how many of those were did you write?
Yeah, besides the first one, yeah.
So you're 3 out of 4. Okay, you're on your way, and here comes Ryan. Ryan, they talk about a subsidy. And they're not giving the subsidy, but if you give a subsidy to a positive externality, is it on the consumer or the producer? On the consumer, do you agree, Will?
Yeah. It's a subsidy on the producer via shift in supply. Well, a subsidy on the consumer to shift in demand.
And since we're shifting demand, it should be on the consumer. Okay, all right, good job. All right, but back to you, Ryan, sorry to interrupt the regularly scheduled programming. E1, you raised your hand for that, right?
Correct. If they exchange the price more than
All right, let's see, because by the beauty of magic markers. Okay. Here you go. So the price, what number do they make it?
$8.
All right, so I'm gonna draw my line across at 8, right? All right, now, what's the question?
If they impose the price for how many units would they exchange at the price for?
Okay, now, you said 24, right? But this externality didn't happen. We didn't give it a subsidy, right? So we're at the market, so it's gonna be, even though people are gonna want 24, they're only going to demand 8.
So if the subsidy doesn't happen, the marginal social benefit doesn't.
Correct. That has to, you need a subsidy to get it.
That's fine.
Okay, yeah. Are we good on that? How many people got that right? Okay. Yeah. All right. Theoretically, this line up here, the marginal social benefit, it really doesn't exist unless you have a subsidy. So since there's no subsidy, you're going to draw your price control across here, and you got to stop here because people are demanding here. Yes, you have a surplus, but they're asking what's the exchange between consumers and producers, and it's only going to be 8.
So in those situations of price floor, you think the demand curve is the price ceiling and the supply curve? Like if you had a price ceiling at $5, you think the quantity.
No, yeah, you'd be here, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. All right, now, Jordan, did the price control help the externality? No. Matter of fact, it hurts the externality, right? It got worse.
So how do we explain that?
I would say, the optimal is 24 and we're producing at 8. And, you know, if you really wanted to go crazy, you could say the market was 16, we needed to get to 24 and we got to 8. Any questions on anything up there? Yes, sir.
What percentage of the nation got, the east side?
They didn't have like, here's how I get those breakdowns. Once in a while, they put out the 10 toughest questions. And like this one they did. I wouldn't think very hard. But here's what I typically would say. If you got 4 out of those 6 points, you will get on the AP exam what you want. You know what I mean? Like if you got like 65 to 70% on the pre-response, generally you get, so like if you're a guy shooting for a 3, you usually get a 3 because that's the multiple choice you get. And so, you know, let me just figure out what a 5 is again in my head. It's a 5 is 72 points. So let's say you get like 66% of the 30 points is 20. So that would get you to have to get 52 out of 60. That's a little stretch. So for a 5, you might want to get a couple more points. But for a 4, where you got to get like 63, I mean, you're then getting 40, like 2 or 43 out of 60 on the multiple choice. You know, okay. All right. All right, here's the unit test again. 5 on public goods, 14 on externality, 4 on taxes, 2 on inequality, 2 on antitrust laws, 2 on monopoly regulation. Okay. The multiple choice is Wednesday, the FRQ is Tuesday. I just gave you an FRQ on externalities. You know, it could be something like that. I would prefer making you draw the externalities, so I'll be looking for FRQs that make you draw them, but either way, that's again, I think on the multiple choice, I truthfully think if you know the externality graphs inside and out, and over the weekend, I'm going to do a video on both those graphs, try to give you all the little things. I think this is a test that really should be a great booster. All right, here it is. Finish your notes. I'll check 12 and 11 tomorrow. Okay. All right. All right. So there was the feedback on a shot of class yesterday. It was 9-0. That's good. I'm going to show you the monopolies, consumer and producer surplus in a second. More economics time. I finally convinced someone that like 30-minute period is ridiculous. So we'll have 2 of them next week. All right. More practice on the charts. The reason I don't give you a lot of practice on those charts is truthfully, there's not a lot of questions on the AP exam on them, even though for some reason the quiz loves those charts. So here is a monopoly, I think. Okay, I am ignoring the ATC on purpose because it makes it easier to see the consumer and the producer surplus. Okay. All right, so it's the same rule. Above the price, below demand is consumer surplus. Below the price and above supply is producer surplus. So that whole area is producer surplus, and that triangle is deadweight loss. Okay. All right. And then if there's numbers, it's half base times time. All right, if you take out your note sheet from yesterday, can we go to 11 o'clock with that, destination?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do I pray or someone who doesn't pray? Is it me? Me? All right. Let's remember the whole church is God and the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Dear God, thank you for a good week so far. Try to let us finish strong on the week. Allow the guys then to have a good weekend where they can rest, relax, and energize. Take time, Pastor LaSalle. Live Jesus in our hearts. All right, you can talk with each other. I'll give you a couple of minutes. Let's see if we get all this stuff. Go.
Oh, not again. I still don't know market failure. Oh, wait. Something about that. Misallocation of income. No, that's just 4 types of market failure. Market failure is like the failure to allocate resources efficiently. You got like externality. Distribution externalities. Public goods are market failure because explain why
You can go first.
oh, I guess they're not pretty, the market's not pretty about explain why monopolies are market failure. Buy yourself positive externality. Use that to explain remedy positive externalities you're going to suffer. Remedy negative.
Are you raising your hand?
No, I'm grafting in my head. Name 10 different superheroes. I like Superman. Will the thrill is a great superhero.
All right. Let me ask, is there anything up there you or your partner did not know? Nothing? What? What do you have? Unfair. Go.
Unfair distribution.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else? Someone doesn't have.
Who's your favorite superhero?
I don't even know what a superhero is.
Look in the mirror.
I don't look at the mirror. It's something my wife has a very hard
You
time
shouted all the mirrors.
dealing with, but I don't look at the mirror.
Why are externalities a thing?
Because they don't, take in the external cost of benefits, therefore they either over or under. Okay. Yes, sir.
Why are monopolies market failure?
Because, they underproduce at a higher price than marginal cost. Anything else? Yeah, we'll get that hopefully. We're behind. All right, here is your positive externality, private benefits, and social. Just remember, you take the mark, go the mark into the optimal, you take the line up, that's your external benefit. And that would be your, deadweight loss. I truthfully think if you know these graphs, there's 14 multiple choice on externality. I think you get 10 right just looking at the graphs. It is one thing I would probably do on this test. As soon as I got my paper, I would graph both the negative and positive or look to see are the graphs there. There might be graphs there, and you can just use them and refer to them, but there'll be a lot of answers just in them. Then you need a subsidy. I'm not going through everything. I'll make it different. All right, and then here's your negative externality. Okay, you go from private to social cost. They like sometimes ask at the market, what is higher, private or social cost? Well, here's your private cost at the market, here's your social cost. Okay, here's your negative externality. All right, so here is the fourth market failure, unequal distribution of wealth and income. We could probably have a pretty good debate. Is that really a market failure? There's my,
Nice.
I think that was for like 3 million. Nice. 3 billion.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. So, this says, get me, oh, what's that? I can't think. What? Warren Buffett. All right, Warren Buffett called up the 500 richest people. And his thing was, let's donate 50% of our net worth to the charity of your choice. What was the biggest reason why people said they wouldn't do it? No, I mean, but you could like name stocks. They didn't have enough money. They thought if they were 50%. You know, like Oprah would be struggling with the 1.5. She is not one of the people who said that. So some people who I know, like Buffett is, Gates is, like. So those are the 2 people I know of. All right, in 2003. So let's just put this up like 10% and now say 72,000. So everyone's doing okay, right? The world's okay. What's wrong?
The average.
So, yeah, Nick.
Oh, like really rich people are pulling the average.
Okay. Oprah's pulling up that poor homeless guy's average, right? Okay. All right. So the averages, so how does government measure? That's what we'll talk about. But let me just ask you first, is rising wealth inequality a bad thing?
Not necessarily.
Sure.
Because it means that like if the wealth gap is increasing, that means there's more people making more money, some sort of group of people.
Okay. Anyone else?
I think it depends on the scope to look at. I think from an ethics standpoint, we don't too big of a gap is bad because we have so many that are just while they're below median.
Okay.
So I think from an ethics standpoint.
All right.
We also kind of need like a context because you don't know what your like baseline like wealth would be. So if it's rising, your baseline is like 20,000, but people are starting to make more millions, like you don't know like where it's starting at.
In terms of like inflation, it could be like a bad thing, like if it's rising too quickly, then like inflation is obviously not a good thing, but it's supposed to like raise or rise slowly over time. So I think if it raises too fast, then it's bad.
It could probably be good if everyone doubled their income, then it would increase just because the rich person already has more. But like, it would probably lead to like other social problems.
What do you mean?
Like, if the rich like double their income and the poor double their income,
So,
larger gap.
right.
But
What he's alluding to problems, what problems do you think of that?
I guess they're actually like if both doubled, but like if they both lost and the rich lost less, then that would be a problem.
Okay, Yeah,
You can just charge, like, if their wealth gap's increasing, you're saying, oh, the poor people are making more money, but rich people are making even more money. Still, you're just gonna, combination will just charge more, and nothing will really change.
yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, if both doubles.
It's just kind of like a multiplier.
Yeah, if both doubles, then the gap isn't
You're like, oh, they're making.
increasing, but if there's inequality, the gap would be. Anyone else? All right. All right. All right, so here's the big question. What's the bigger problem? Wealth inequality or poverty? Poverty, okay. All right, so here's how the government divides. All right, so they divide each, like, the population groups of 20%. You have the richest 20%, the second richest 20%, the medium, and then, you know, the two lowest 20%. And if everything was divided equally, right, the bottom 20% would be earning 20% of the income. The top 20% would be earning 20% of the income. But I mean, I think we know that isn't how it works. And here it is. So the poorest 20% earn 5% of the total income in the United States. And you don't really need to know these things. All right, then group two, the second poorest 20% earns 10%. Group three, they still don't get to their equal share. Group four, and then the richest 20% get 40%, 45% of the total income in the United States. All right, so they graph this, and what we would know as the Lorenz Curve. Famous economist Lorenz Curve has the curve named after him.
You want to read off the X and Y axis on it? There we go, Lorenzo.
Percentage of income, percentage of family.
No, on the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sage sub D and times that is that. All right, so, by the way, this is the last micrograph. I know that sad in your heart.
Oh,
And I don't think they'd ever ask you to graph it, but they would ask your understanding of it. All right, so this line, that's perfect equality. That's socialism. Okay, all right, so that's perfect equality. And then that line is the United States. All right, so we could argue where the United States should be or shouldn't be, but there goes the United States. All right, so by the way, what does the United States do to try to bring the gap closer?
no.
Come on. Let's do it with America, right?
I mean, maybe like government programs for low income people to get the welfare.
Right, so you have transfer payments like government programs, unemployment, welfare, and all right, so that's helping one segment. Where do they get that money?
Actually, taxing rich people.
Yeah, so they tax, all right? So I'm gonna go backwards and get that. And that red curve is where the United States is after the tax and distribution, okay? So again, first line, perfect, equality, socialism. Second black line, the United States, before tax and redistribution. And then the red line where the United States is now. So, obviously not perfectly equal, but a little different than it was before. All right, now, one of the ways they measure it is called this Gini coefficient. All right, now, that's all I want you to do is write Gini coefficient down. I don't want you to write any of these words. right? So a quick little story. When I was at Laney, this girl went to Princeton and she like emailed me like 5 times saying, I'm struggling. I can't do the econ here at Princeton. I wanted to be an econ major. And so in October, the college board sends me an email telling Gal that she got to Princeton, got 100 on the AP test. She's one of 12 people in the world to get 100. So I email Helen, like, if you're struggling, a lot of other people might be struggling. So I then, I don't know why, but I called her professor, probably to tell him. And I said, I really don't understand how Helen's struggling. And he said, struggling? She's got like a 97. Then I realized what struggling meant to Helen, you know. But anyhow, I did teach the Gini coefficient that year, and it was on the test. She got it right anyhow. Here's what you need to know. A 0, the Gini coefficient of 0 is socialism. It's perfect equality. 1 is like one person has all the money. So 0 is as you get, the number gets higher, the income disparity becomes more and more unequal. The United States is like 0.44, somewhere kind of in the middle. All right. Any questions on it? We got the graph, we got Gini coefficient. We're okay. And again, when it says government transfer payments, all they're talking about is like welfare, social security, unemployment, all those things. All right. You don't need to like guess, but you could read South Africa has the most. And Iceland. All right. So, are there any downsides to welfare unemployment for these government issues?
I think to the extent it incentivizes not working all the time, not all the time, but there are instances where it can incentivize not being productive.
Okay.
Like, some of them have people taking advantage of the programs.
You have to raise taxes to pay for it, so that causes inefficiencies in the market.
I agree. Okay. Well,
People that actually need the program. Like, let's say they're having 7 kids, and they keep pushing out kids, and they keep getting like extra program. And it's trying to do better.
okay. I don't know the exact numbers of welfare, but I don't think like having a kid is a cost. You do get more money, but having a kid costs you. You know what I mean? What I always find ironic about conversations like this is no one gets really upset at all those rich people who take tax. You know, like there are rich people who pay less taxes than me. Like that no one seems. So I think any system has loopholes and everything. But I have yet to meet someone in my long life on earth at your age who said, I want to collect those unemployment checks. It's not a great life. It really isn't. But hey, here we go. I got a little econ Uber. I had a job offer and my paycheck is $200. I had another kid and my welfare check is $400. By the way, that welfare check isn't going to take care of it. Okay. Oh man, we get to types of taxes. Is that on your sheet?
Taxes, portion taxes.
Yeah, okay, it is. All right, so just there, taxes, mandatory payments made to the government to cover the cost of governing. All right, like people like you, one of the trouble things is no one wants to pay more taxes. No one wants any benefits taken away. You know, you don't want potholes, but you don't want the taxes to pay for the potholes. So, all right, government taxes, two main purposes. Finance government operation. All right, like, there's some examples of public goods. Highways, are they excludable? No, if they're public goods, they can't be, not excludable. All right. All right, fund programs, welfare and social. The second thing is influence economic behavior. All right. Like supposedly we don't want people to smoke cigarettes, right? So we tax cigarettes. So excise taxes, they raise revenue, and hopefully by raising prices, we have discouraged people to use it. All right. And tomorrow, we'll talk about the three types of taxes.
One day, all the drugs in the universe disappeared.
What?
What?
What did you say?
If one day all the drugs in the universe disappear.
There'd be a lot of pain and suffering.
Yeah. There'd be a lot of tax.
No more morphine.
All right, you can have a great day. Yeah. I have them somewhere. I don't know where it was. Because like you looked at someone's paper and they got better and you copied it and you don't have to do it.
Guys, probably like a free.
No, because I think they're at home. I looked up.
Oh, you going over the redos tonight?
Huh?
The redos?
I think we'll be done today, so I can.
Okay.
Everyone isn't just as diligent as you and does their review the next day.